Within sounds like it could be part of your live set for years to come. Tell us about that track.
So Death from Within is a song that's basically about the old story we heard as kids about the Trojan horse, and how right now it seems that around the world, as much as you would have to be completely asleep at the wheel, how bad guys have gotten into position of power, and it almost seems right now like people are going out of their way to hurt people instead of do the right thing for people. So it appears to me like the enemy's within.
Tell us about the track Dystopia.
Dystopia was a song that had a different title, and sometimes my songs will change the titles towards the end of the songwriting process. If there's a line in the chorus that's really hookier than another, the chorus may say it has this name, and then it has another phrase in the chorus that to me sounds better, and we'll opt for something that's a little bit more hooky, a little more memorable. But we don't always have songs with choruses. Hangar 18 didn't have a chorus, and Wake Up Dead didn't either.
Tell us about Poisonous Shadow.
Poisonous Shadows, it's more than just mid-tempo. That's I think because of the coloring and the mood and the subject matter of the song. It's about somebody who is so obsessed with somebody that their every waking moment, they're picturing this other person. They sleep, he's there. When they wake, he's there, and that power that somebody has over somebody else. They say, well, he's, still haunting them from the grave, that kind of thing. And that stuff is real.
Conquer or Die is an instrumental track that features some great nylon flamenco guitar. Tell us about that.
Actually, that song was supposed to have been written something very similar to Eruption, and excluding going into You Really Got Me, we wanted it to go into Lying in State, which I thought was a really cool, heavy song. So I think that the two together, they're supposed to dovetail together, Conquer or Die, Lying in State.
Can you tell us about The Emperor?
Well, for some people that don't really know what hard rock is, I think that when you look at bands like Fastway, Fast Eddie Clarke, that's very similar to his guitar playing style, Motorhead. And Motorhead, I don't think a lot of people would say that it's like rock. I think they would call it metal. So metal is a very, the terminology is so broad anyways, so many other things fit into it. I would agree that it's more of a metal track than a thrash track. So I get where you're coming from. I totally agree with that too. Just like Me Hate You's more of a track like an old Scorpions track.
Yep. Let's talk about the song Post-American World.
So Post-American World was supposed to be a different song too, and the subject matter was a little frustrating for me, and I didn't want to write about something that was as deep as what I was going to write about. And I just, for some reason it was really hard. I was going to write about post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's such a labyrinth of human emotions and tragedies that happen. It's not just, people in war. There's all kinds of things. People seeing things, car crashes, children witnessing parents fighting, stuff like that. And so I just figured, I can't do that right now. I want to focus on another thing that's really important to me, and that's watching America pull out of all of these hot spots around the world, and slowly but surely, I mean, I don't know how you old are. I'm 54. I've seen 10 presidents in my lifetime, and never in the days I've been alive have I seen the world as so volatile as it is right now. It's a spitting fucking disaster.
I take it that you used Dean guitars for the recording of the album. Tell us about some of the gear combinations you used this time around.
I did use Dean. The amplifiers that we used were many. There were several different configurations. My rhythm, I used the JVM 410s. For my lead, I used a Randy Rhoads white JCM 800. A little bit of some pedal stuff in there, like a flange, a chorus, a fixed wah pedal, stuff like that. But the most important thing I think in the studio, it's your hands. If you don't pay attention, I think a lot of people go in there and just the proper fretting and picking technique can be the difference between a chord slapping you in the face and punching you. And I like the approach where there's more power to it, I mean, a perfectly placed slap in the face is, sometimes it fits the bill. But, if you really want power, like when a Tulamone comes in, a Tulamone has a very melodic opening, and then that first chord comes in when the verse picks up, and it's very powerful. I think you have to know the difference between when to play those kind of chords and when to do something a little bit more lighter, like an arpeggio or a strum, instead of just like a punch.